Whoop whoop. Hello, everybody. Welcome
Oh,
to today's NBA Finals prediction live stream. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we finally have our matchup for the NBA Finals today,
or
and this is going to be interesting. We have the Celtics coming out of the East and the Warriors coming out of the West. Today, I'm joined by Corrupts today for this NBA Finals preview. We're going to give our predictions. We're going to talk about a lot of things, though, before we give our predictions because it's a lot to unfold. It's been a long season, 16 teams in the playoffs, added teams for the play in. It's a lot. So we got Jacob and Victor in the chat.
wait, what?
This is good, but Corrupts. This has been a
Wait,
long
what was the
season.
last part?
I said or teams added from the play in and from 16 teams in the playoffs.
What?
Corrupts. You don't understand, do you?
I'm
There
slow,
were
bro. My bad.
16 teams in the playoffs, and then teams also who competed in the play-in. Those were added teams to this year's postseason. So now it's time for the NBA Finals. Corrupt is a vibe killer. He is a vibe killer. He could have just went with
I'm
it.
not a vibe killer. MG, you
Instead,
said
he
that they
failed.
added play-in teams, and I was confused. I was like, what are you talking about?
Anyways,
Yeah, anyways.
we got to give our predictions. But today, Corrupts, we got to give some predictions. I also want to talk about the path that these teams went on, the playoff run, just the overall outlook of both team seasons. So today we're going to start off with the Eastern Conference champions, the Celtics path to the finals. Their season
Victor,
and how they got here. What
Victor
are you
said
laughing
Warriors, and then you said Celtics path to the finals. That was funny.
at? Well, Victor, you got to wait. But
Oh,
Corrupts, what do you think of this Celtics finals run this season?
um, it, I mean, it's well deserved, right? Actually, they were doubted throughout the entirety of the playoffs. Like, honestly, right? A lot of people had the Nets being them,
Mm-hmm.
including me. A lot of people had the Bucks being them, even without Chris Middleton.
Mm-hmm.
So, another doubt there. And then, when they started losing against Jimmy Butler in the Heat, a lot of people rode the Heat train and rode Jimmy Butler, and went for the Heat. And they've been kind of been doubted all the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, though, it's been tough. Jimmy Butler went off. Giannis pushed them to Game 7. 2 Game 7s so far this year, and I think they have like the best uh, on road Game 7s. I think
Mm-hmm.
record in the entire NBA in the playoffs. And then of course they played the Brooklyn Nets, who wasn't. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's been a great path for the Celtics, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean it's going to do wonders for like Tatum and Jaylen Brown and the Celtics. I mean, if they can get their 18th ring over the Lakers,
Mm-hmm.
so
This path to the finals was interesting because if you would have told me halfway through or I want to say halfway, like a month before the All-Star break, if the Celtics are going to win or make it to the finals, let alone win it, I would have called you crazy. They were 3 games under 500. They were struggling inconsistencies, but they did turn it around. And in the second half of the season, they were the best team in the Eastern Conference throughout the second half of the year. And then entering the playoffs, you still had your doubts. How would this ISO ball thing work that they kind of go to sometimes when they're in pressure? How would
yeah,
this work? But in the first round, I seen that their defense was stopping two amazing scorers in the league. They shut down Kevin Durant and they limited Kyrie Irving as best as they could. And then the Nets role players, obviously, because they've traded a lot of players and a lot of things to form this team, so they don't have the role players that they once did. So when your two best players aren't doing good and you don't have great role players, you're probably gonna get beat badly in the playoffs, which is what happened. But I think the Celtics defense has been the name of the game. Al Horford having amazing playoffs, off defensively especially. I mean, when you talk about Al Horford, he's a veteran. He's been through a lot of playoff and a lot of conference finals losses. the way he played defensively, especially in this playoffs, I felt like was very key for Boston because it didn't matter who he was going up against. He didn't stop Giannis, but he also wasn't afraid to go up and challenge Giannis at the basket, which you don't see that a lot. A lot of people just, when Giannis comes in, just back up. You got to make that business decision. But Al Horford was there, was challenging him, was helping out on Kevin Durant. And then in this series versus the Heat, I think it was very up and down for both teams, but the Celtics just got easily counted out after Jimmy Butler went crazy in game 6. And I'm like, wait, this is a 7 game series for a reason. I don't know why people are just falling back on the Heat hype train. And the Celtics have been amazing on the road throughout the playoffs. I stuck with the Celtics in game 7 and they prevailed. They prevailed. Also, too, shout out to Jimmy Butler. I mean, he tried his best, but listen, it is what it is. The Celtics are here now, and this was I don't know if it's just gonna be like a great memorable run. Like this is not like a 2011 Dallas Mavericks type of run where they were just complete underdogs, but this was one of the better finals runs when you talk about just adversity they faced on the road in certain situations other than the net series was just but against the Bucks and the Heat going on the road for game 7s and doing what they did, it's impressive and they took down Giannis, and obviously they were without Chris Middleton, but even people still had the Bucks coming on top in that series. And I think this was a great run by the Celtics, and now it's time for them to go get it all. And they are competing with the Lakers for the most championships in the league. So, Lakers fans are putting on their Warriors jerseys.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
Even
in a
now, I
few
do
days,
see a lot of people picking the Warriors to win this finals.
yeah,
So they just keep on getting doubted.
they are getting doubted. So we're gonna see how the Celtics come out. But Victor is in the chat, and I know he's gonna wait. Can't wait to hear about this. We had to talk about the path from the Warriors. They came into
Yes.
this playoffs kind of like I wouldn't say like unpredictable, but we didn't know how great they would be because Clay was kind of inconsistent as he was kind of getting back from injury. Steph did get hurt towards the end of the year, so it was a lot of question marks before everyone could pick the Warriors to make a deep playoff run, and they did it. So corrupt, talk about the Warriors' path to the finals.
Um. Yeah. I mean, first off, MG, you spelled the Warriors wrong. um.
I did.
And second off, before the season started, the you had some. They're kind of like an interesting team, right? Because Klay Thompson should have been coming back. Some
Hmm.
people had them, coming back in the playoffs. Some people had them as a play-in team.
Hmm.
I was one of the lucky few that had him as a top 4 seed, but that's just me. And then they went in. Steph Curry had MVP numbers, and then slowed down
Hmm.
a bit. And then people started to doubt them. People started picking the Suns to make it out of the West, and then picked a lot of the Bucks, or even the Celtics or Heat to win the entire finals. And
Hmm.
didn't kind of doubted the Warriors since Steph having these off shooting nights, and like you kept on getting these injuries with Draymond and yada yada yada.
Hmm.
But then they made made the playoffs, right?
Hmm.
A guy, decided to have a pool party, Jordan Poole, and beat Jokic, went against the Grizzlies, uh, beat them. I wanted to say like easily, but he beat them in 6. And then they went to the
Hmm.
Mavericks, who just impressed everybody. Luka Doncic, superstar in the league, just beat the Suns, and then they go
Hmm.
on and beat them in 5. And then the Warriors looked like they just kind of just cleaned through the West. Not really.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say it was like not hard, but it was definitely like easier than the Celtics path. Right?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
looked more
yep.
dominant. Steph
Hmm.
Curry looks, Steph Curry, the best point guard in
Hmm.
the league right now. Jordan
Hmm.
Poole, they got like 4 good shot creators on this team with Jordan Poole. Never mind. Let me not get into that because that's getting into the meat and potatoes.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, the path has been actually dominant, and it's been a little bit easier than the Celtics, I'd say, getting to the
Yeah,
finals.
yeah. When I think of this Warriors finals path, I mean, like I said, I had questions about what would Steph Curry look like, especially being a little injured, and then obviously Klay Thompson being kind of up and down to close out the season. But what I've seen from the Warriors is just their depth showed up. You talk about guys like Andrew Wiggins coming out in games and showing up, just playing well. making great plays. I mean, he had a great series there against Dallas, had some good games against the Nuggets where he put up almost 20 a game. So when you look at Andrew Wiggins, he's just honestly been a great role player throughout the playoffs. And the Warriors on their when they were having those back and forth years with the Cavs, they always kind of had that extra role player step up in the playoffs, whether it was like Harrison Barnes or whoever the case may be,
Iguodala,
right? Iguodala, he won a Finals MVP, right? It was always
Livingston.
Livingston as the sixth man for like a season. So every time the Warriors were like, dominant back back a few years ago, they always had that role player, and it seems like Wiggins is just being that guy, right? You're gonna have Steph who's gonna win you games in the playoffs. You're gonna have Klay Thompson who's gonna have his moments. You're gonna have Draymond who's gonna just be a great impact on the floor. But who is that guy who's gonna step up? And it's been Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole, guys like them who really took their game. Honestly, I think Wiggins has been playing better in the playoffs than he did even before the All Star game when he was an All Star starter. I think he kind of, or I would definitely say as far as the playoffs got deeper and deeper, he's definitely gotten better.
Yeah,
So I think the depth of the Warriors is what really helped out. Steph Curry in round one being able to come off the bench because of the depth the Warriors had, and they still able to finish that series in five. I think that's incredible, and I agree. I wouldn't say this was like the easiest path to the finals ever, but the Warriors just made it look so dominant, especially on certain nights. It's only one night where I had fear for the Warriors, and that's when the Grizzlies randomly just beat them by like 50.
without
Other than
Jaw.
that, other than that, in every series, I feel like I was confident that the Warriors would come out on Curry. I mean, to cap it off with him, putting consistently starting to put up those 30-point games again, especially against the Mavericks in a few games. And Klay Thompson closed it out in game six with 32 points. I mean, you're going to have moments like that, especially in closeout games. It seems like Klay Thompson always steps up in closeout games. A lot of people call him game six Klay, but in game five against the Mavericks, he played the same way he would in the game six. So it might just be closeout game Klay if he continues to do this. But I think it was a great run here for the Warriors. Now,
What are you
what?
eating?
What are you laughing
What are you eating?
at? Oreos.
You just put an Oreo mouth in midstream? This man, MG, bro.
Anyways, corrupt.
Yes.
Let's get into the series now. We talked about the path. Now let's talk about who's gonna be the biggest bum for both teams. Who's gonna be the guy who's gonna disappoint and who's gonna just not show up for both teams?
You know what? Um, wow, that's an interesting question. I feel like for the Celtics, honestly, I could really see Marcus Smart struggling, especially against Steph Curry.
Mm,
And he's,
mhm.
has this defensive player of the year, like badge to him and all that kind of stuff. And towards the end of the Heat series, I know there's like they're saying that he had like a little bit of an injury, but I mean
Yeah.
so did Jimmy Butler, to be fair. Um,
Hmm.
and he didn't really play like a defensive player of the year. And I really, really think he's going to struggle against Steph Curry, right?
Hmm.
And for the Warriors, I haven't really thought about it much. Wow, this man, big play slay is gay. Um,
Wow. Wow.
what's up, Rhea?
What's up,
Wow,
Ray?
I haven't really think about the thing with the Warriors is that there's such like good depth. I just don't see anybody really being like a bum for that team.
Hmm.
If I had to pick one though, I could see Robert Williams handling Kevon Looney pretty well. I can see Robert Williams getting the best of Kevon Looney, and maybe that 20, Kevon Looney going off was the
Hmm.
product of going against the Mavericks, who is not really who doesn't who's the best big man is what, Dwight Powell or
Dwight Powell, yeah.
Kleber or whatever.
Lieber,
So
yeah.
I think Kevon Looney could be the bum of the game
Wow.
for the Warriors. Or the series. Bum of the series. What's up, Brea?
I
What's
got.
up, Big
I'm about to bring out a huge hot take for the Celtics.
Big Freak? What's up? Okay.
This guy. Now, I think he's a solid player, but I don't know. This is just a gut feeling, and he's had inconsistencies, especially from the free throw line randomly. I think the bum for the Celtics is gonna be Jalen Brown.
Wow.
I
I seen
don't
this.
know, man. I feel like just the Warriors. their perimeter defense, you're not going to be able to stop Jason Tatum. So I feel like they're just going to have to just kind of let Jason Tatum do what he does. But I think Jalen Brown, I don't know if he's going to be able to find a way. Because when you look at the Warriors, what they did in the last series versus the Dallas Mavericks, Luca still had great games. But there was games where Reggie Bullock shot terribly. There was games where Jalen Brunson wasn't as great as you wanted him to be. And then when Brunson was great, then Dinwiddie struggled. It was just the Warriors do a great job defensively of taking away your second and third best players. You look what they did against the Nuggets round one against Jokic. Fine, Jokic, he's gonna do what he does, but Aaron Gordon was non-existent. Monte Morris, Bones Highland, who was an exciting rookie, was just nowhere to be found. And then they just continuously do that. The only role players they struggled against was one game versus the Grizzlies, and that game. And it's crazy that the Warriors made the finals because after that game, bro, I was like questioning them, like, what the hell? But the Warriors do a great job of stopping opposing teams' role players or second and third options in that aspect, and I think it's going to happen again here against Jalen Brown. And then for the Warriors, I think a guy who can really struggle if it's not Kevon Looney, because I could see that, especially after all the hype he got after putting up monstrous rebounding games and multiple games. I think a guy who you also might see struggle in certain games definitely could be Jordan Poole because we still don't know how he will perform on the big stage. He's had great games here and there, but in the Mavericks series, it was kind of concerning because he was very inconsistent against Dallas. And in the NBA Finals, you're gonna be in high pressure situations. I think Jordan Poole can struggle. Also, too, I think the biggest bum for the Warriors probably a guy who will get minutes, just because he has been this playoffs. I think will be Otto Porter. I think Otto Porter is gonna be. I think Otto Porter is gonna be the biggest bum or one of the bums playing here for the Warriors. Let me just see, because
I
so
wouldn't really say Poole played inconsistently against the Mavericks, mostly because I mean when you have Clay, Steph, and Wiggins on your team, I mean you're going to take a back role. You're going to take a backup role. You're gonna, he's the third, fourth option on that team. So I mean,
mhm,
yes, he only had like to the last three games he had 10, 14, and 16, but they're
mhm,
all on low amount of shots, right? They're all he was like it was 2 for 4, 5 for 10, 6 for 8. So it was like
mhm.
just because he had a low amount
He
of
was
shots, that's
yeah,
why he scored well.
yeah. Mhm.
So I wouldn't say that he was inconsistent. He just didn't get enough touches.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Damian Lee's an exception. Oh, Damian Lee, he's the bum of basketball. He is literally the bum of basketball. Dude is only on the team because he got married to Steph Curry's sister, and Steph Curry
Oh my
asks
god.
him to be on the team every year, bro. Steph Curry goes up to the front office like, "Don't cut him, bro. Don't cut him. Come on, bro." My
My sister
sister,
would be mad at me.
yeah, my sister would be mad at me if I didn't let her guys stay on here. But
Hey,
let's go.
what's up,
What's up,
King
King
Pookie?
Pookie?
I know you.
Yeah,
I see you in the stream in Sports Fury and Roach's stream
Fury.
sometimes.
Yeah, King Pookie be around. Um, Big Play says, I don't know. I don't think you guys gone live this late since you guys streamed on a mock draft a year ago. Yeah, we haven't been live this at
Yeah.
this time of night since the mock draft stream. Um,
Oh, I missed the mic dress stream.
yep. Oh, I can't wait for that one this season. But that's
Yeah, me too.
that's after the finals. But corrupts now. Who is going to be the biggest X factor for these teams? I know Josh and Sean kind of talk about that a lot. You know, who's the guy who's going to step up? Who do you think is that guy for these both two teams in the series?
Oh, that sneeze. Oh, I hate when sneezes come and they just go.
If
They
they just
just stop.
yeah,
Okay.
uh-huh.
Oh, that is going to be. After the Warriors, that's hard because if you Clay, to me it could be Clay or Draymond Green. Wow. You know what? Whoa. I think
Oh.
one of the biggest things from these, that's been like emphasized is the Celtics defense, right? And
Mhm,
they talk a lot about the Celtics defense, this, and so. But I feel like not enough people talk about the Warriors defense. So I think the X factor will be
mhm.
Draymond Green. I think he's gonna
Okay.
pull. He's gonna do great defensively. Ooh, I
Mhm,
can't wait to see what he does against like Tatum. Hell, even Robert Williams probably in some possessions, and Al Horford, and
mhm,
I think Draymond Green will be the X factor for the Warriors, and I
mhm.
think Jalen Brown will be the X factor for the Celtics. If Jason Tatum goes, actually, yes, yes, I'll go. I'll go Jalen Brown because Jason Tatum, if he goes off and Jalen Brown goes off, I think
Mhm.
it's really hard to be like if they both get like their 25, 25 or whatever.
Yeah.
Man, it's so hard. There's so many good players I could choose from. I'm gonna go with Jalen Brown.
There.
Jalen Brown's the second option on that team, and he needs
Mhm.
to play better. He needs to play better, and he needs to hit his free throws.
Yes,
So
he
I'm gonna
does.
go.
That's why when I was reading him, I'm like, this dude's weirdly been struggling from the free throw line,
I'm gonna
dude.
go with Jalen Brown.
Yeah. So the biggest X factors in this series, I mean, oh, also too for the Warriors, at some point in this series, they will get Gary Payton the second back, so that's also good for them.
Yeah.
Um, excuse me, but the X factor, I
What's up,
think,
Jose?
if I'm looking for Golden State, I think it's gonna have to be Wiggins. He's at a point of his career where he
Yeah.
kind of got rid of all the pressure that was on him now, and he can kind of just relax and just play basketball. And I think he's gonna be big again in this series because when you look at the Celtics' best defenders, Jalen Brown and Marcus Smart on the perimeter, they're going to be defending Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. So, and Derek White's not a terrible defender or whoever else they'll have out there, but I just think the favorable matchup should be Andrew Wiggins in this series as like that fourth scoring option, third scoring option type of guy on certain nights. So I think Wiggins is going to be a huge X factor here for Golden State. And for the
Yeah.
Celtics, I'm going to go with a guy and I don't know how great defensively he's going to do still, but I think offensively, Derek White will still bring the same production he did last series, especially um,
That's a good one.
especially throughout the end of the series. The last few games, Derek White and against the Heat was very productive. And like I said, I don't know, I don't know if he's going to play that level of defense because he was playing great defensively and offensively, but I still think Derek White will be a solid piece in this series. He'll come off the bench, he'll do well. They're gonna try to have him match a little bit of what Jordan Poole can do because they'll both be coming off the bench at around the same time and match up against each other in these games at certain points.
Yeah.
So I think Derek White is going to be a huge X factor here for the Boston Celtics.
So Rhea asks me, will I be happy if Derek White wins a ring? Yes. Derek White's awesome. Very humble guy. Derek White,
Mhm.
if he gets a ring, it'd be awesome. Yo, how do you
Yeah.
highlight somebody's name? Oh, you
Uh,
just put the at symbol and then their username, if
yeah,
that's what
you
you're
got to
talking about.
type out the username on your
And
phone. You
then
got to
big
type out
fridge,
the
look at big
full.
fridge. Look at big
Yeah,
fridge time.
bro, come on, bro. Oreos, bro. Ah. All right, corrupts. Now, before we move on to other things, we got to get our thinking caps out again. You got to get your thinking caps out.
Oh my
We're gonna
gosh.
do some NBA finals and some NBA playoff trivia today. This is gonna be fun.
Good.
This is gonna be fun. So, everyone in the chat, y'all, to the people who already know
Oh,
how
we're doing
this
it
goes,
now.
yeah, we can do it now. We gonna go away from the questions. We going to shy away from this series a little bit. Before we get back into it, we need some trivia questions. Corrupts.
Take a break and
So
taste some
we need
trivia.
to
Okay,
test
I
your
got you.
knowledge on NBA
Why not?
champions, NBA
Oh,
championships, some
okay.
teams. You gotta
Okay.
put your thinking cap on.
Okay.
So here's the first question: Who
Yeah.
was the Bucks won their first finals? Who was the Finals MVP? This is easy level. Easy level. First
Kareem.
Bucks Finals MVP. There you go. Bingo. Easy money.
What's up,
Easy money.
what's up, young Stingray?
Was good, bruh. Young
MG
Stingray.
to the
Very good.
Nas. I like that. MG to the
Yeah, bro.
Nas.
All right.
Oh,
So next question: What
yeah,
team
okay.
won the title in the 1994-95 season?
94, 95. Rockets.
Yep. Okay, 2 for 2. Easy
Oh,
money.
all right.
Obviously, we all know who the MVP was. All right.
Was it Hakeem?
Mm-hmm. Easy.
Yeah,
Easy.
yeah.
All right. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Through 2003. So the recent championship, the 2010 one doesn't count. How many times before that did the Lakers and Celtics meet in the NBA Finals?
Before 2010?
Yep. How many
Not
times did
including
they meet in the
2010.
finals? Not including 2010, not including that one. So, and this includes before the merger, just in general in
Shit.
basketball, how many times did they
Okay.
meet each other in the finals?
Okay. Um, they faced. Okay, Magic and Bird faced.
They face a damn. That's like 8 championships between Magic and Bird. So you be the judge.
I think they faced 4 times because I know they didn't win every single one of their rings against each
Mhm.
other.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I
not
think they
every
did.
single. They have like
I
17
think
apiece.
was it 4 or 5 times,
And like I said, this is including them before the merger. So
and
all
this
of
is
that
including
count.
before the merger.
Yep. So the 50s count and the 60s as well.
7. Wait,
Is that final
might
answer?
be might be 8. Okay, 2008.
Hmm.
I'm not stupid, right? The Celtics.
We got some answers in the chat, by the way.
8.
All right. So everyone is wrong. The answer is 10. Rhea said 3. Big Fridge said
Wow.
6. 3 is a low number, Rhea. Jesus. I mean, they met like freaking. How many times did they meet in the 80s? They met one, two, 3 times. Just that 3 times just in the 80s. And then a lot of times in the 60s and all that good stuff. So they met 10 times.
Wow, only 3 times in the 80s.
Yeah, that's actually surprising, huh? Because I
Oh wow.
remember the Sixers. I mean, when the Sixers won theirs, they made it one year. But other than that, I thought the Lakers Celtics basically played almost every year. Oh, and the Pistons have like 3 championships also, or 2 in that era. So that kind of makes sense. So next question:
Mm-hmm.
Who were? Let's see. Okay. Oh, I don't know if anybody's gonna get this one. No one is gonna get this one, but I'm asking anyways. What New York Knicks guard went 0 for 11 from the three in the 1994 Game 7 Finals?
What guard?
Hmm. He went 0 for 11 from three in Game 7 of the 94 Finals.
I don't think Allen Houston or what's his name was there.
Frazier?
No, not Frazier. What was the other guy's name on that 99 team? It was Houston. Oh my god, I keep forgetting his name. Ah, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't.
All right. It looks like no one in the chat has an answer for this one, too. This is a hard one, and I
Big
wouldn't have
Play said
gotten this
John Starks.
myself. Big Play Slay had to look that up because he is correct.
Oh,
John
he looked that
Stark
up.
went 0 for
Don't look it
11.
up, Big Play Slay. Come on,
Yeah, don't
man.
look it up. Reyes said Hubert Davis.
I know for a fact you didn't know that.
Yeah, no,
MJ, did you know that before you asked that
I did
question?
not know that before I seen this, bro. No shot, bro. Okay,
Big Play Slay, you're capping, bro. Come on, man.
nah, this is too easy.
You don't have to lie. What's up?
We answered that question last stream. It was the NBA. It was the Jerry West Finals MVP question.
Yeah.
Okay,
How can you show me evidence? You can delete history, bro.
you can delete history in Google, bro. It's freaking Google, dude. It's browsers, dude. It's 2022. You can delete history. That's when Nick Scarta actually no way that you know John Starks, but you don't know Allen Houston and Clyde Frazier because he said that's like the only Nick Scarta he knows. Nah, that's cap, bro.
And there's somebody else I'm forgetting. Who am I forgetting? Because in
Uh,
'99, it was
I can
Alan
look up the
Houston. Was he a 3 or
1999.
was he a 2? Was it 2?
I
No, he was a
don't
3.
know.
Who was a 2?
Here's basketball reference. You said the 1999 Knicks.
Yeah, that's like the only like Knicks, and of course Patrick
The
Ewing, but and
1990
like
they
Larry
have Rick
Johnson.
Brun. They have Rick Brunson. Allen Houston was a two guard. They
Yeah,
had
okay.
David Wingate. They had Charlie Um, Chris Childs. Yeah, they have Rick Brunson, Allen Houston, Charlie Ward. Those are like their main guards. They also had Latrell Sprewell, who's a three
It
though.
was Spruill. That was the other guy I was thinking of.
Yeah.
He went off in one of the Spurs finals.
Yep. Yep.
All right, next question.
All right. Next question.
Yes.
Let's see. All right. We already answered this question last stream too. Jesus. Okay. All right. Which teams faced no? Okay. What? This question is stupid. Okay, never mind. Okay. Which team in game 7 or which in game 7 of the 1962 finals, the
Of the what?
score was tied in the 1962 finals. We're going back. The score was tied basically fourth quarter, game on the line, right? Which Laker missed a game-winning shot to lose the championship in 62? Was it Elgin Baylor? Was it Leroy Ellis? Was it Jerry West? Or was it Frank Selvey? Who choked in 1962?
Who was the second guy?
It was Elgin Baylor. The second guy was Leroy Ellis. Then Jerry West and Frank Selvey.
Elgin Baylor. I'm gonna go with Elgin Baylor.
The answer was Frank Selvey. So you and Big Pussy were both wrong.
I was not even with that.
Of course, it would be the
Actually, Rayo was right. It was Russell Westbrook. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, he always chokes. Come on. It was Russell Westbrook Sr. back in 1962.
Russell Westbrook Senior. Senior.
Yeah. All right, corrupt.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
One more, then we should move on.
Mm-hmm. In the epic duel, and this is not even NBA Finals, they're going to the playoffs in general. In the epic duel of the Eastern semifinals between the Celtics and Cavs, Game 7 in Boston, Paul Pierce scored 41 points, but LeBron James had a higher score number than that. How many points did LeBron have in Game 7 versus the Celtics?
Oh my God.
41 for Paul Pierce.
This was like the year before he
made the decision.
The decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, higher. It wasn't that much higher than Pierce. Don't think it was 50. No, it was 47. 47.
Okay. It was 45. Big Play Slay got the answer. LeBron James scored 45 points in the clutch game. But the Celtics did still win it, 89-85. Because they're the only two guys who showed up. Because, the Cavaliers. Yeah, let's just say the Cavaliers weren't.
Oh, that sneeze came back. Ooh.
All right, Corrupt. Now, let's move back on to this series. I have some more questions about this one. Also, you guys can keep going along with that.
Thank you.
Who will average the most points per game in this series? Now, they could be on a losing team, the winning team. We've seen people on the losing team have the highest scores. So, who will average the most?
It's going to be Jason Tatum.
Okay.
Jason Tatum is averaging more than Steph Curry this entire playoffs. I'm pretty sure. Sure. Actually, let me second. Let me just second look that. I'm pretty sure Tatum's like averaging 27, and then Curry's averaging 25. I'm gonna go with Tatum because I feel like with the Warriors they have like 4 shot creators, kind of. I'd say 3 to 4 shot creators, while the Celtics only have 2. I'd say.
So Jason Tatum is gonna be the leading scorer, and I guess we're gonna have to agree on this one. And even if, let's just say the Warriors had one less ball handler, or even the same amount, Jason Tatum just takes more shots than
Yeah.
Steph Curry does. He just takes all around more shots, and Curry's probably he's definitely gonna be the second highest scorer, obviously, because he's gonna be the number one option in the Warriors, and they're gonna hit a lot of shots. So, and Curry is averaging 25 in the playoffs, and I think you're right. Jason Tatum in this playoffs averages where is it? Where is it? Jason Tatum in this playoffs averages 27 points per game. So Corrupt hit it on the nail.
Is there?
And everyone else in the chat says Jason Tatum will lead the series in
Yep.
points per game. So who will average the most assists in this series?
Draymond Green.
Okay.
I think Draymond Green's gonna get like 7 to 8 assists per game.
All right. I'm going to go with. I'm gonna have to go with Draymond. I wanted to say a
Copy.
sneaky guy like Derek White. Maybe he can be the main facilitator because the Boston Celtics don't have like that point guard who facilitates. They kind of just create off of each other, and sometimes, like Corrupt likes to say, ISO ball. So it has to be Draymond. I honestly think, not Al Horford. I think Curry's gonna be number 2 in assists because the Celtics just don't have like a lot of guys who's gonna have a crazy assist total. So I think Draymond, if not, it's gonna be Steph Curry. 2 best ball handlers in this series. All right, who will have average the most? We'll go to rebounds.
Rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit harder because Robert Williams could get injured, but actually that could help him because if he gets like a high game,
He has like 21 rebounds and then plays like 2 games, and the next game he has like 15. Then he averages like 18 rebounds a game, and he only played 2 games a series. But let's just say for people who play the whole series, let's say like Al Horford, or let's just say that everyone does play every game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kevin Looney.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do that because I mean, I liked what he had a 20-20 game, right? 20 points, 20 rebound game, right? So yeah, I think it will be Kevin Looney. I think he's shown, and he's gonna be like probably the biggest guy for the Warriors. I think starting wise, right? So
Yeah.
Robert Williams could, but also though, like they have bigger, like the Celtics just have bigger guys than the Warriors, like Tatum, Al Horford. So I think they're gonna, yeah, I think it'll be. Well, I cannot believe I'm getting in depth about rebounds, but yeah, it's gonna be Looney.
Hey, bro, it's a part of the game, bro. It's a part of the game, rebounding, bro. I'm going to go the other side of it. I'm gonna go with Rob Williams. I'm gonna go with Robert Williams. I think he's gonna average the most rebounds per game here in this series. I just think he's gonna be. I just think he's gonna be overall better than Kevon Looney. Looney's been solid in the playoffs, but so has Robert Williams, especially in help of stopping Bam. So I'm going to go with Robert Williams to average the most rebounds in the series. So who's going to have the bigger defensive impact? Draymond Green or Marcus Smart?
Draymond Green, and that'll be because. Ooh, actually, I'm gonna go Draymond Green because I feel like Smart lately, the last couple of games, has not been really playing as like a defensive player of the year. Hasn't been really playing good defensively actually at all. Jimmy Butler cooked him a little bit in the last couple of games. I think it's going to go into a little bit this series too. It's Curry. He's going against Curry. Going against Curry, or even if I wanted to go against Klay Thompson, he's still yeah, I'm gonna go with Draymond Green because I feel like Draymond Green. I mean, he was leading defensive player of the year before he got injured. He's just been great defensively all playoffs, and I feel like he can make Tatum struggle a bit. There's some games where Tatum is inefficient, and I think
Especially
Draymond
when
Green
he
can
gets
make him do that.
guarded, especially when multiple people or like when those great defenders. And Tatum, it's not like Tatum gets shut down throughout the whole series, but he does have some games where if you guard him tight, he's gonna take stupid shots. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm good. We're gonna have to agree on another one here. I'm gonna go with Draymond, even though this is a tough question because you got the defensive player of the year to a guy who would have been competing for the same award. So you got basically you could say the two top defenders this season, and it's hard, but I think just guarding Steph and because he's the thing about Smart, he's gonna be guarding Steph and Clay the entire series. Where Draymond, he's more gonna be guarding Tatum
Al
and then
Horford.
whoever Al Horford. Which guarding Tatum is one thing, but then you go down to the level of Al Horford. And no disrespect to Al Horford, he's been great in the playoffs, but
Yeah.
other than the 130-point game, he's just honestly been a defensive presence more than offensive. So Draymond's gonna have the better defensive impact and obviously the best defensive impact. PJ says, I feel like the Warriors need Dre to be better defensively if they want to win the series. And I think, you know what? Obviously, it's a lot of other aspects in the series, and obviously, we're going to break it more down to prediction. But one of the things in this series, PJ, if Marcus Smart has a better defensive series and he helps shut down Stephen Clay or slow down Stephen Clay, and Draymond doesn't do it to Tatum, that could be the difference in why the Celtics will win. Or if Draymond has a better defensive series, that could be the reason why the Warriors could win. So it goes either way with that. But everyone says we got big play. Slay gonna say Marcus Smart, Green from Rhea, and PJ. You had Looney versus in the Robert Williams thing. I didn't even see that, but PJ earlier said that he thinks he just said Looney's a goon on the boards, and it seems like he might be going with Looney, which you could, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, corrupts. Who's going
What's
to
up, PJ?
be
What's up, Pimper?
better role player? We're going to guys who are either the fourth option in the starting lineup or coming off the bench. You got Andrew Wiggins
Okay.
for the Warriors, or for the Celtics, you got Eric White. Who's going to be the more impactful or the better role player?
Oh, so White had a great series or a couple games against the Heat,
Mm-hmm.
but Wiggins has just been more consistent throughout the entire playoffs. Um, Andrew Wiggins has been playing great defensively for the Warriors, and of course, he's been putting up his good 15 points per game, which I believe is better than White's in the playoffs. I believe. If
Yep.
you could double check that for me, Mister
Yeah, I got you.
Nas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm gonna go with Wiggins. White is cool. I love White. White is my guy, of course. Out of
Mm-hmm.
anybody in this entire two teams, I want White to win because he's a Spurs boy. But I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm gonna go with Wiggins on this one. Derek White's gonna be cool. He's going to like do the little things like get charges and stuff like that. But I still think Wiggins is gonna be more impactful.
Yeah, and Derek White only averaged 8 points per game in this playoff, so he didn't start
Yeah.
turning it up until the Heat series, where Wiggins was kind of more consistent throughout. And I'm gonna go with Wiggins as well. I think it's going to be a little bit closer because, like you said, the little things that Derek White does do is going to be
Yeah.
an impact. Like take those charges, like give a lot of effort defensively. But I just think overall, Wiggins is going to have a lot of chances in this series to really go off, especially when he's going up against bench players and when he's guarded by weaker defenders. I think
Yeah.
this is where Wiggins. This is really. I feel like as far as role players go, this is a great series for Wiggins to really show up and be a great player, and that's why I have him as my X factor in this series. So
Uh,
corrupt. We got predictions now, and then after predictions, we got who we got winning the Finals MVP and stuff. But we got predictions coming up. After a long season, we have the Warriors versus the Celtics. Corrupts. Who will win the series?
I'm going to go with the Warriors
Okay.
in 7.
Mm,
Now, I feel like the Warriors have that championship aura for them, especially the three, Draymond, Clay, and Steph Curry, right? And I also feel like I can trust the Warriors role players, Poole, Wiggins, Rooney. Uh, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Kaminga, Moses Moody stepped up.
Kumu- Yeah, Gary Payne.
Wiggins.
I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, bro. I feel like I trust those players
Hmm.
uh, over the inconsistency that the Celtics role players break. And what I mean by that is that Grant Williams had a great couple of games, throughout the first two series. And I think he even had one good game in this Heat series. And then, the rest of the games, he's been kind of mid or, kind of falling off from those games, right? Derek White has been inconsistent throughout the entire playoffs and really only started turning it up against the Heat. Al Horford stopped Giannis one game and then stopped playing at all, honestly. No, I shouldn't say that. That's rude. Al Horford, though, he stopped Giannis one time and he kind of fell off at that. He's kind of been playing bad since that game. Um,
Hmm.
and Robert Williams, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets injured. I think I trust the Warriors just more. I think they have a better depth team, and I trust that championship aura around them more than the Celtics. And
All
the
right.
Warriors do have the home advantage. At the same time, that doesn't really matter since the Celtics. But so,
Hmm. Steph Curry get his Finals MVP.
yes,
Okay. Corrupts. I am going to have the Warriors win in the finals, but it's going to happen in 6 games instead of 7.
I was debating that. I
And
was debating that.
the thing is with the Warriors is that when you look at just the overall team, and I like what you said about the depth, but even when you look at the stars that are in this series, in the playoffs, I feel like Steph has been a little bit more consistent than what Tatum has been. Because Tatum has had some iffy games offensively in the playoffs. Now his defense, especially in the Nets series, did make up for that. But he has had some struggles offensively a little bit more than Steph has. And I trust him more. I already think Jaylen Brown's gonna be really inconsistent this series. I don't trust it right now from Jaylen Brown, especially missing free throws. That's just wild. Um, and then I think what's really the series winner is that Draymond is gonna outperform Marcus Smart defensively. And why I think that's such a big
Yeah,
key factor is because you have who's gonna stop these stars? It's gonna
yeah,
be Smart and it's gonna be Draymond. And Draymond's gonna do a better job than Marcus Smart. And then when you look at the role players, Payton Pritchard, he when he does play, it's either he misses 3 shots and then doesn't see the rest of the game, or he makes 3 shots in a row, and then everybody's like, "Oh my God, Payton Pritchard, look at him!" It's too much for him. And honestly, him and Derek White are supposed to be like the two guards that come off the bench, but as soon as Payton Pritchard struggles, the coach doesn't trust him anymore. So Payton Pritchard's hot and cold. Derek White has been good against the Heat, but this is a different animal with the Warriors. And I just think the Warriors are gonna close out in 6. And I don't want to sound cliche, but this is Game 6, Clay Thompson. I mean, I
true,
don't know
true,
I don't know how else I had to kind of phrase it. I think the
true.
Warriors gonna be up 3-2. It's gonna be 2-2 after 4, and then it's gonna be 3-2. Then the Warriors finish it out in Boston to win the NBA Finals. So Big Play Slate says Warriors in 7. Uh,
Reyes said Celtics in 6 or 7.
Celtics in 6 or 7, and Mike Nixon has Warriors in 6. So Rhea is the only person to have the Celtics win the series.
Anybody else that got the Celtics in the chat?
I think. I mean, looking at it, let's see. King PJ is obviously going to go with the Warriors here. Yeah,
So is
you
Victor.
guys see Victor.
So is Victor.
So unless of Big Fridge or if he's still here, if he has the Celtics, but the it looks like we're only going to get one Celtics, and I can see the Celtics winning.
Yeah.
But I just if Jason Tatum goes off for 6 straight games, then or 7 straight or however many games it is, then cool. I just don't trust it enough. I just don't trust it enough. So,
One person that I did forget to bring up is that
mhm.
I think a key part in the Celtics winning was going to be Grant Williams. If Grant Williams can have like the type of games, yes, of course, Rhea, drop why you think so. Drop your take. But if Grant Williams can have like a couple of games, even just one or two games, uh, where he's playing good defense and he's shooting just consistently like what he did against the Bucks, with like a 6 of 8 from three or whatever, he just can't miss from three. I think the Celtics can win off of that because Grant Williams. I mean, I think Tatum and Jalen Brown is going to do their thing. Honestly, I really do. There's no stopping Curry, and I feel like Robert Williams will also do his thing somewhat because the Warriors' front court is a little bit lacking. But I feel like Grant Williams and maybe Derek White also, and the role players is what's really going to set the Celtics up from beating the Warriors. You have to the Celtics bench and role players has to step up for them to win. They have to. They have to.
Mm-hmm. Araya says she's gonna drop. She can drop her take. Go for it. Go for it. And this I feel like the Celtics they're gonna need their role players to step up, and I don't think Marcus Smart is gonna be the defensive player of the year level of defense. I I can't say that he will. I don't think he will be. I don't know about Derek White if he repeats what he did last series, and I don't know. I don't know if the Celtics are gonna give me enough from
If
that I would like out of them. So, but I'm interested to see what Rhea has to say on why she would have the Celtics winning.
and if Marcus Smart can play defensive player of the year defense on Steph Curry, then I think the Celtics will win. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. And if anything happens for one game, but Reyes' comment says probably a dumb take, but I think if the Celtics can play outstanding, Draymond is gonna start getting frustrated in games, and eventually his anger will get to him and it'll cause problems. And that is another thing too. Draymond Green is very close to getting that last tech, which would get him suspended.
Oh
Which, if
wow.
that does happen, I think he is a little bit closer to that. He's like one or two techs away from that. So if that does happen, the Celtics would obviously have to steal that game without Draymond. So that I feel like that too. But I mean, if that does happen and the Celtics can steal a game, especially if that happens and the Warriors have a home game and the Celtics win, I mean that could change the series. But other than that, I just don't see enough out of Boston. But corrupts anything else you have to say?
No, not really. I think else I have to say. What's up, DJ 15?
What's good, DJ? But corrupt. This will be hopefully a fun series. Hopefully no blowouts like 80% of the NBA playoffs. And corrupts. Listen, our next NBA talk live stream should be start talking about draft stuff. So that should be fun.
So I think. Ooh, what is it going to be like? Because
Hmm?
these finals are spread out. It's not like every 2 days, like the conference finals. It's like every 3 days. It's on the second, and the fifth, and the eighth. Then I think the 10th. And then I think the 13th, the
13th, yeah,
16th. It's weird.
yeah.
So how do you want to do it? Do you want to do like? So okay.
Well,
So basically, we have
hmm
planned. We have
hmm
planned, right? Uh, we have planned the mock draft. I think we have a planned like big board comparative. You know what I think we
hmm
can do? I think we do like a mid series like review, right? And then after that, kind of
hmm
go into a big board type like comparison type thing, all in one
hmm
stream.
Okay.
Um, and then of course we're gonna have finals review,
hmm
and then after that, I think we'll be rankings. After
hmm
that,
Yeah,
and then
which
of
is
course off season and stuff like
off
that.
season free agency. Yeah, but and I think too, with that, I feel like after the first two, maybe three games, we can kind of do like a mid series, like that type of thing,
Yep.
because it will be a good amount. It will be a good gap, especially after the first two games, because then they'll be traveling to Boston, which will take an extra day. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. But ladies and
Um.
gentlemen,
So I do
if
have a couple of things to say before we get
hmm
off.
hmm
One, or questions, as
hmm
I should have said. Steph Curry wins this finals and finals MVP with the
hmm
Warriors. MG and chat. Will that make Curry the best point guard of all time? And if it doesn't, what more does he have to do?
if Curry wins, I don't know if he's the clear greatest point guard of all time because the guy who is currently does have 5 titles with some other accolades, but I mean that does move him closer. I feel like if he wins 2 more titles, include like one of them including this one, I think then you really have to start to have that conversation. And me personally, if he wins this finals, and let's say he wins next year, the year after, and he wins Finals MVP in both, I think I'd give him the nod.
Mm,
I think I'd give him the nod because he'd be a 5-time champion, 2-time
yeah,
Finals MVP. He'd have all the obviously the greatest shooter of all time, the highest 3-pointer, whatever All Star games, All NBA, right?
yeah,
Because right now, if I mean, Magic has what 4 titles or 5? He has one of. I know
five.
he has more than Steph.
Yes,
So
five.
if Steph were to get 5 with two
Yeah,
MVPs and be the greatest shooter of all time, I think that's when you could really consider that. And most people, and maybe myself, would have him as the greatest point guard. So, but
I think
if he wins this
I
finals, I think he puts himself definitely in the top 10. I think that's one thing that's kind of like guaranteed with everyone. I feel like everyone kind of agrees with that. No matter
yeah,
what, if Steph wins, he's top 10. But then you got obviously you had to start talking about the greatest point guard of all time, which means if he does do that, a lot of people have Magic Johnson in their top 5 to 6 all time. Which if Curry wins another championship, we'd have to talk
yeah.
about him being top 5 all time as well. But that's another topic.
So I think personally,
Hmm.
I think if he wins this finals MVP, I don't think it is a conversation. I think it is still Magic. If he wins another one, and of course another finals MVP, wins two more, like this one, the next one, I think it's in a conversation, but it's not clear cut. And I say that because I think I'd give the nod to Magic, and I say that because of the 2 rings with KD. I do think that's a little bit. I think that does tarnish it just a little bit. Um, and if of course if he somehow in a ridiculous scenario gets three, then of course I'd have to give it to Curry. But first off, I don't see that happening. I don't know. I think he
Now,
has to get at least two more and two Finals MVPs to even be in the conversation with Magic, like a debate, like a hard debate. And I can't really decide. I'd still probably give them nod to Magic though, even after two, and then he has to do a
so
little bit more after that. That's just me
just
though.
a question, not to say that I disagree. So Magic doesn't get discredited for playing with Kareem.
That's a good point. But at the same time, though, they didn't have the greatest team assembled.
Okay,
They didn't
okay.
have,
They have
and
Kareem, and then
I know they struggled against the Rockets.
hmm
But let's be completely honest with ourselves. Having KD, Clay, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and the best like record wise team ever, and then adding KD to that, Steve Kerr, which is a good coach. I still very much think that's still the best team of all time, and I still think that, especially competitive wise, um, what's it called?
hmm
It's worse than the Magic than the Lakers with Magic and Kareem. And plus, even without Kareem in the playoffs, because a couple of games Kareem got injured,
hmm
Magic still went off and still
and
played
he did play center.
fantastically
I
well.
think that's a big thing too. When Kareem was out for one of those games, he started the
Yeah,
finals at center. That was great. But Reyes says he won't be the greatest point guard of all time. He can be top 10, but not top 5. He needs to win at least another ring this season and 2 more Finals MVPs. Basically, what Corrupt said. Um,
yeah,
he'd have to just to make it a conversation. I agree. I like I said, I wouldn't probably give him the nod, or I would at least debate. In this, I could debate in the side of Curry if he wins this year and maybe next year, the year after, and wins MVP in both. Because he says I think Magic Johnson is a better overall player, but a couple more rings, Stephen, and he might top Magic. I feel like we're on the same page here.
yeah,
Definitely 2 more championships. 3 is like, all right, then that's when it really gets,
yeah. If
you
he's
know,
so if he gets three, that's crazy.
if he
If he
gets
gets
this year,
three,
and if he gets a three-peat, especially if it happens like this year, next
if
year,
he
year
gets a
after, then
three-peat,
that is
that's crazy.
that's crazy.
Don't let him
But
get a three-peat because
if he
that's top three.
that's
That's better than Kareem kind of conversation. I'll tell you that right now.
if Steph gets another three-peat, The
And
other
like he's the
only,
best player for those 3 years.
the only other person to do that, they get a three-peat
It's
in their
Magic. And
30s. The only other person to get a
I mean, not
three-peat in
Magic.
their
My bad. It's
30s,
it's LeBron. It's Jordan. What the fuck?
Jordan. He'd be the only other player to get a three-peat in their mid to late 30s. So, but that's a different conversation. But everyone's
Yeah.
agreeing. Steph has to at least win 2, 3 to kind of make it more convincing
Yeah.
in order to win. Obviously, he has to be the MVP of
And
the finals.
and if he wins another ring, Finals MVP, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Is he in your top 10?
Yes, if he wins this season, if he wins, he's top 10. I think because I mean you got guys like Wilt Chamberlain who doesn't obviously
Yeah.
have many championships as him, and Steph
Yeah.
accolades is better, and you could argue that Steph played harder competition and stuff like that, other than him playing Bill Russell. Um, and then Bill Russell, I get the championships, the 11, but me and you both know, similar to some of Wilt achievements, and I don't try to not to discredit Wilt and Bill's achievements of Wilt going off for 50 a game and Bill having 8 to 11 rings, but it could be debated on which one was harder and stuff like that. So yeah.
I think it's another ring with him being the best shooter of all time, and him impacting the game. I'm going to say that he's probably greater, and he'll be in the top 10, and I'll probably put him at 10. I'll put him at 10,
Okay.
like right smack at 10. I'll probably still let Bill Russell slide, probably. It's just by a little bit. But
yeah.
if people don't know my top 10 of all time, we'll probably not. Let's not get in that this.
Yeah, will because
But I
we are
think he probably
making
will be
some
my top 10.
certain lists. Yeah, we are making certain lists. This could get brought up in the off season and
Definitely.
during the rest of this playoffs. So, but Big Play Slay says Corrupt looks younger. He looks like how he used to look in the sports year calling streams a couple years ago. Wow.
I look older. Like I look like that, but older. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Like I was, because you just don't have the beard, but you can tell like you're not as young. You're not like 14 anymore.
Yeah, 15, not 15 anymore.
Yeah,
I'm upgraded. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm upgraded.
yeah, upgraded. Corrupts
Corrupt
upgrade. It's like
2.0.
when you it's like when you upgraded like a character on like a Mortal Kombat or like
Yeah.
like a Smash Bros game. Like you upgrade a character and they just look better or something. That's basically what corrupt is. What's up,
Um,
Goodrich?
you ready, Victor? Yes, sir. Okay,
Yes,
so one
sir.
other thing that I do want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
What does this do to Tatum if he wins a championship? Um, would he be considered a superstar? Is he top 10? Because some people don't even have him top 10, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is a little crazy. But is he a superstar? How far does he go up? What's up? What's
Mm-hmm.
up?
All right. So Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
If he wins, he's a superstar. I think that's kind of the consensus thing as well amongst everyone. I think that if Tatum wins a championship, then you have the
What's up,
conversations
good
of
Rich?
if he's better than
Sorry.
Embiid, if he's better than Luca, if you have him in that range like me or Corrupts
Mhm.
would. Jokic is interesting. I Jokic having 2 MVPs but no playoff success, but Jokic also didn't have the team, so it's kind of hard with that conversation. But Tatum, if he wins a championship, you'd probably have him as definitely have him as a superstar. You'd have the conversation. You have the Luca conversation will get brought back up. Him and Embiid, those
Yeah.
debates would probably get brought up, stuff like that. So, but I think what the thing we can all kind of guarantee almost, unless like he gets carried by Jalen Brown, is if they win the title, Tatum is a superstar. Unless he gets hurt and Jalen Brown carries, or Jalen Brown or someone else just completely carries and he just sucked. He was just not what he needs to be. But
I think
I
it
definitely think
depends.
he's a superstar.
I think it depends. Because because I think it depends. I'm a little bit more strict with my superstar label. I definitely am. And let's say that the Warriors just don't have a good series, right? And
Mhm.
the Celtics still win. And Tatum doesn't play bad, but he does have some games where he doesn't show up. And the games he does show up, it's not a masterclass like 40 or 30 points like a Jimmy Butler or Giannis has been putting up these last couple playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Playoff series. I would say that he's not he wouldn't be based on that. But if Tatum does go off, averages like 30, and then of course beats Warriors in like 6, and he's clear cut best player, I think it's very hard
Mm-hmm.
for me to be like, nah, he's not a superstar.
Yeah, and if he's like
I
unanimous
think
Finals MVP
yeah,
and stuff.
it really just depends on how he plays. Um, I am I am very very hesitant to put him as a superstar though. I am.
Understandable, but yeah, it's, like I said, as long as he doesn't get clearly outplayed,
Yeah,
and he's like I said, if Jalen Brown shows up and carries, or like Marcus Smart, or someone just carries, then it's like, oh, Tatum, like, well, what's up, bro? You won, congrats. But I don't know, bro. But we'll see, we'll see. But y'all can drop your last comments in the chat before we head out. Um,
uh,
what are the
Big
super?
Fridge.
Who are
I was gonna say Big Fridge says who are the superstars in the NBA. Me and MG both agree.
mm-hmm,
LeBron James, Giannis, KD, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Luka Doncic, Doncic, whatever,
mm-hmm,
Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic.
mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the 8 superstars we currently have right now. We don't have guys like Tatum, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Dame, who names who you hear a lot. Other people would. Other people have a higher criteria of
Devin Booker.
superstardom, or Devin Booker, yeah. Which, other people have a different criteria of superstars, but yeah, Corrupt is Corrupt is more
What's up?
strict. I'm more open to adding people than Corrupt is, but right now we have the same thing. MG soon will be a 76ers All-Star, bro. I'm gonna be best player in the league, bro. Best player in the league, bro.
Art Area. Art Area, what's up?
Yes. What's up? Hello.
B Hub. I don't care. Just want this ring and to do so. Jason has to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Exactly.
Tatum has to.
Exactly.
Tatum
That's
definitely has to
how.
go off for them to
Was
beat the
Prime
Warriors.
Westbrook a superstar? I don't think that's really a
No,
debate, Big Fridge. If Prime Westbrook is a superstar, I mean,
no.
he was back-to-back MVP.
Huh?
Or was he back-to-back? Russ was back.
No.
No, he wasn't back-to-back. I'm sorry.
He was
He
a one-time
was
MVP.
one-time MVP. He was MVP candidate the year after. Because
No.
Harden won it the year after him. Harden was that the Harden. Who was in that MVP conversation the year after? It was Westbrook. Then I want to say Harden won it. I thought Westbrook was in the conversation still, as Corrupt just completely died. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know. I actually think Prime Westbrook.
I say no.
It just depends on how you value him.
I
It's
don't
truly
believe in
tough.
one. I believe that players can play at a superstar level, but I don't believe you're a superstar after playing as a superstar one season. I don't believe that.
So you think that was his only superstar season, like that MVP season? That was the only year where he was a
Yes.
superstar.
Yes.
Hmm.
That was the only year he played like a clear-cut superstar, in my personal opinion.
Hmm.
Unless I'm like very much forgetting a season.
He was a
I
scoring
don't think.
champ. He was a two-time scoring champ.
Mhm.
2016 MVP. Let me just look here. And
I said
24.
Giannis. I said LeBron. Harden. No. Rhea. My very serious question is, what is the best Gatorade flavor? It is Glacier Cherry or the white flavor.
Glacier. No, I don't actually. I don't. I don't hate that flavor, but I don't like it. I would say like Glacier Blue or something. I like Glacier Blue. It's like the light blue one. I think, but in 2015, Westbrook, where he won the what 16, 17 MVP. 2015, he averaged 28, 8, and 7 on 48% shooting, 43% shooting. He averaged 28, 8, and 8 in 2015. You could debate if he was a superstar there. Obviously, his MVP year where he averaged basically 31, 10, and 10, averaged 25, 10, and 10 the year after in 2018. If you would consider that a superstar, but some of his years are like kind of up and down, honestly. Like he has the 28 point per game year, then goes down to 23, then up to 31, to 25, to 22, then up to 27 in Houston. Wow, I didn't know he was that good in Houston. I didn't know he averaged 27 in Houston. So I think, I actually think Westbrook was a superstar in his prime.
Wow.
Damn, but it's because like the years where he was a clear cut superstar is so split. Like 2015 was a superstar, wasn't 2016. 2017 was a superstar. Kind of took a was okay, was great in 2018. 2019 took a dip, and in 2020 again, averaging 27, was a superstar again. Like it's kind of like his performances were like up and down.
See, the reason why Harden is not a superstar anymore is because, first off, he's just clearly not playing at the Houston level that he used to play at. And two, every time he joins a team with other stars or maybe even superstar talent, he's not the guy. Right? You can tell that he doesn't play at the level of KD or Joel Embiid. So I think 2 seasons is enough for me to say he's not a superstar anymore. Unless he proves it to me wrong.
Last year he was just an all-star. And this year, yeah.
And Paul George, no.
Nah, Paul George's not a superstar. AD, no.
When I say superstar, I'm talking about right now. I'm not talking about
in 2018.
Harden used to be a superstar, but not anymore. He's not a superstar anymore.
Yeah.
Which console should I buy? I know people say, I'm getting to your question. What console should I get? A PS5 or Xbox Series X? Before y'all go, I need y'all opinions.
It depends. I mean, first off, it
They're
depends
the same.
if you're playing with people, like who you like. You have friends on more Xbox or PlayStation.
They're the same console, basically. They're the same console, just different brands. It all depends on what games you like to play, who your friends are playing, and which if you like Microsoft or Sony. That's it.
Because they have the same speeds, the same store, all the like technical stuff, the same speeds, all that is the same. They're just different brands and different controllers.
If the PS5 exclusive games are very intriguing to you and you're like begging to play those games, get the PS5. I'll tell you that right now, because most of those exclusive games are single player games anyways, so just get the PS5. If you're looking for like good story, good game to play, just start to finish, get a PS5. And also everything's going cross platform and it's catching up with Xbox when it comes to Game Pass and stuff. But if you're looking for friends and looking to play in this community, one, it's cheaper and it's more compatible, and everybody here in this sports theory has, something that can be played with an Xbox. And I'd say Microsoft is generally the better out of Sony and
especially with some of the exclusives that could be coming up in the future. If you have an Xbox now, that could benefit you later. What's up, John? We just got done. John and Luka Doncic just joined the chat. Luka, I'm a superstar. We agree. The actual Luka is here. Corrupts.
So Luka, yes, you are a superstar. You are a superstar.
But yeah, Luka and John got joined at the end, but we both have the Warriors in. Well, he has the Warriors in 7. I have the Warriors in 6. So. But Corrupts, any final words, final comments for the chat? Drop them now or forever hold your peace.
I have no comments as of right now.
All right, so he will forever hold his peace right in his hand. He might put it in his pocket or he might throw it in the trash. I don't know. Reyes says, me personally, I wouldn't get either. I would go Oculus. Actually, the Oculus is pretty good. People don't play it as much anymore. But if you get the Oculus, one day you could just get a group of people around the community and y'all all play it one day. That actually would be cool.
The Oculus doesn't have.
Is it?
The bad thing with the Oculus is that, one, it strains your eyes like hell, and two, there's not really a lot of games that are like grabbing. It's more casual. It's more easier to play games on Xbox or PC or PlayStation 5. In the Oculus, there's certain story games that are really good that you can play, but a lot of the multiplayer games are very like you're just desiring for more, and it could be easily better, honestly. And a lot of you need like a PC to have an Oculus, and not a lot of people have like a computer to work
with the Oculus, one, you can't play it as long in the day as you
Yeah,
would like a Xbox or PlayStation because one is draining and two it needs to charge. So it's not like an Xbox PlayStation where you can plug it up and obviously that's where it's getting its power from. It's not like a charging thing. And you could play your Xbox for like 4 hours out of the day or 5 hours. With the Oculus, if you play it for like more than an hour, if you start to get to that 2 hour mark, it starts to die. Your eyes
yep,
start to get drained out, and it's just the Oculus is just you'll have less time. You'll have less time on it. To where your Xbox, it's on a TV, everything's plugged in, everything's right there. You can plug in a cable that if your control's gonna die, like it's just convenient. But yeah, it's honestly and honestly like it just depends on uh what your friends are playing and what games you want to play. Because
yeah,
Xbox has certain games, PlayStation does that's where they really separate. Is their exclusives, and that's why you see both Xbox and PlayStation competing to get certain exclusives to draw more fans to their console. So,
yeah. Also, Rhea, I was just saying that for like you want a PC for the Oculus or for a VR headset because the PC expands it. All the
yeah,
great games comes from the PC, like Half-Life,
hmm
Alex. Oh my God, so many games, so many like
like
adventures
all
are
the
better
games you see
with
like
the
like gamers play on
yeah,
stream, all of those come from the PC. Those are like cool games and stuff.
yeah. There's certain games you can still buy with the Oculus that are good. Like I love Walking Dead, Death, Saints and Sinners. That's a great
hmm
fucking game. That's the
hmm
only game that I can consistently play on anything. That's the only thing.
hmm But, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to leave. John says he has
Yeah.
the Celtics in six. Okay, so that's our
Ooh,
second
interesting.
Celtics. That's our second
Only you're the
Celtics.
second guy.
Only two. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see more of Corrupt, whenever he posts on his channel, subscribe to him and yeah, Corrupts. Um, this guy obviously he has worse sports takes than me, but he's a pretty good guy.
Yeah.
So, uh, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, don't die, stay alive. Don't die, stay alive, and also make sure to eat dinner tonight because if you don't, you'll starve in the morning. And eat breakfast, most important meal of the day. And don't die. And I will talk to you later. Thank you guys for being here, liking, commenting, subscribing, all that stuff. And until next time, I'm out. Um, don't die.